Well, good afternoon and welcome to the Empower Room. We're so glad to have you with us this afternoon on November the 7th, 2021. This year is almost over, and what a year it has been, and we're so grateful to be able to be with you this afternoon in the Empower Room. And thank you all so much for joining us. We hope you are having a great day today on this Sunday. And just so grateful to have this platform. I just was reflecting on what this pandemic has brought to me and to change my life. And this is it. Doing the Empower Media LLC, doing the Empower Room. We also have publications. I have a book that's out. That's on Amazon in the blink of an eye, and also an Examiner Quarterly magazine that covers social, cultural, and political topics, mainly affecting the African American community. And it's been a very interesting process to go through this pandemic, and I'm just so grateful how God has used me during this time to give more to the community in the way I think community needs, and how I feel I've been led to provide this platform to empower people with information they may not otherwise have. All right, so let's get started. I want to welcome you to the Empower Room. This is Empowering Moments, and I'm your host, Reverend Timothy B. Hughes, MDiv. And we ask that you please like our page, send an emoji, leave a comment, share, and follow us. And I go by Rev.T. And believe we're streaming on YouTube as well. So we ask that you will please subscribe to our page and to our Facebook page as well. We really would appreciate that as we are embarking on our second year of doing this engagement in this form. And we have just had a wonderful time thus far being providing the information that we've been providing. The purpose of Empowering Moments is to promote Empower Media LLC by sharing cultural, civic, and inspirational moments with special guests from all over the world. And Empower Media LLC is a social empowerment and community entity through social and digital media. As I stated, through book publishing, actual programs, and special speaking engagements we are able to do. We have over 25 years of experience, and want to encourage you to go to our website, which is MPWR Media LLC1.com, and you will be able to see the services that we do provide currently in live presentation form. So we're able to do that for you live or on through Zoom or social media, or however way you would like to have a presentation done. We're able to do that for you. Okay. So I want to encourage you to check out our website, MPWR. It's a play on the word empower, MPWR Media, LLC1.com. All right. And I know our topic is focusing on our first publication in the blink of an eye that came out. It's actually been out almost a year now, but due to the pandemic, we were hesitant about doing book signings, live book signings. At bookstores or wherever. So what we are doing is our virtual book signing that will be on November 20th here on this platform. Okay, on November 20th at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we'll be promoting more information. You'll be seeing, hopefully, information coming to your Facebook pages and YouTube and all that good stuff in regard to how we plan to facilitate that virtual book signing, which will have books here available, and I'll sign and get them mailed out to those who purchase the book on that day. I guarantee you, it will be a blessing to you. We're putting together some great information in regard to some of the reviews that we've had thus far on the book, and just so grateful that the book has been a blessing to so many people thus far. All right, and Our special guest I want to introduce today is a gentleman that I have had the opportunity to observe and to over a long period of time in the St. Louis, Missouri area. And his name is Thadi Kennedy. And he is one of the founders of the Sudan Illustrators there in St. Louis, Missouri. And let me just give you a little background in regard to who we'll be speaking with this afternoon. He comes from Progressive Emporium, which we've also had a wonderful guest from Progressive Emporium on with us as well, Johnson Lancaster. And he's one of those cohorts. Thought he is. And Progressive Emporium, an education center once named the Progressive Emporium and Information Center, is owned and operated by Sudan Illustrators Incorporated. Sudan is a Black African centered cultural, artistic, and education organization slash collective. Sudan is a united collective co op operating with traditional African views, values, and perspectives. All right, and I've had the opportunity to be in conversation with our guests, to see our guests perform with African drums and the stories of our culture from Africa, and am just elated to have him on with us this afternoon. So, without further ado, I would like to introduce to all of you our very special guest, Mr. Thadi Kennedy. How are you doing, Thadi? Oh, can't hear you. Can't hear you. All right, we can't hear you. Let's see. Unmute. You got to unmute your mic. Unmute your mic.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
All
Okay, there
right.
we
Thank
go.
you.
All right.
Thank you so
Okay, all
much.
right. Well, thank you. All right, thank you so much for coming to the Empower Room. We really appreciate it, and I hope you're having a great day today. And
Oh.
look forward to our dialogue. And for
Hmm.
people that don't know you, to get a chance to know you and to hear the conversation that we'll be having today.
Okay.
So first off,
All
how are
right.
you, your family, with the pandemic and all that that's been going on? How have you all been doing?
Okay. I want to say Asante Sana for inviting me on this format here in the Empowerment Room.
Yes,
We're
sir.
doing beautiful. I'd like to say to everyone, Habari Gani, Hotep, Assalamu alaikum, Shalom, Salamu, Alafia, Negadef, everything in our ancestors' languages, and what up? My
All
family is
right,
beautiful.
all right.
Yes,
All
sir.
right, that'll work. That'll work. Thank you so much, man.
Hmm.
Again, it's a joy to have you on with us today. And I feel like I'm at home, so I do get homesick. So talking to you makes me
Ah,
feel a little better. All
oh yeah, I
right,
know you. Yeah,
all right.
you probably miss Sarah
Yes, sir.
Looney's, and
Yes.
so do we.
Yeah, oh yeah, right. A whole lot of stuff. 'Cause, I tell you what I miss. I'm gonna tell you what I miss before we get into this. I miss
Hmm.
Chinese food because the
Ah,
Chinese food here is not good. I
right.
miss the pizza.
Mm.
Emo's Pizza's got it going on in St. Louis.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and those are the two main things. Those are the two main things for sure. So
Right.
when we got
Right.
go back, those are the two things we make sure we go and get when we're there.
Yes, sir.
But yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So from what I understand, there's a connection of your family to
Hmm.
one of the most uh, horrendous things that's happening in our country in regard to the East St. Louis riot. So, can
Yes.
you tell us more about your family's involvement in regard to that? And would this be the riot that happened? What year was this that the riot took place?
This happened in 1917 in East St. Louis.
Okay,
Uh,
1917. Okay, right.
Specifically, July the 2nd is when we observe it. Pardon me, because
Okay,
that's when
okay.
the larger of what my father and my uncles termed race war happened. There are things that happened
Mm.
the months prior to that, which kind of led up to it. Just a small history on that, and I'll tell you a little bit about my family. East St.
Okay.
Louis. Okay. East St. Louis, like a lot of cities in the Midwest, today they call it the Rust Belt. Black people were leaving the South to come north during Jim Crow,
Right.
to find jobs, to find work for their families, to be able to support their families. For
Mhm.
way too long, people don't understand that when we live in a patriarchal society here, where men are supposed to be the ones to provide for the families. At least that's the way things are set
Mhm.
up here culturally in America. Um,
Right.
one of the things you're going to do is that if your opponent is a male dominated system, and they're also racist and bigoted, they are oppressive and feel that they must live off of a permanent underclass. The first thing they're going to do is they're going to try to make sure that the men in those families cannot provide. So, in
Mhm.
mass, over a long period of decades, Black people left the South to come north to cities like Detroit and cities like Gary, Indiana, to work in the steel factories. Was for the uh, Detroit was for the automobile industry. East St. Louis and
Mhm.
Chicago for the stockyards, and not to
I
mention
see.
the aluminum ore company in East St. Louis, which was later called Allerton, meaning aluminum ore town. My
Mhm.
grandfather and grandmother, from what we understand, to this point, moved to East St. Louis from Alabama somewhere around 1908. They came in and to try to take advantage of the jobs in East St. Louis at that time, and in the entire St. Louis area. There were
Mhm.
the packing houses, the armor packing house, and some of the others were actually giving free rides on the train for Black people in the South to come to East St. Louis and to go to Chicago to work at those places, so that they could get labor, particularly at a time when poor, impoverished white families, white men were working in those places, and they wanted to form unions because they wanted better treatment. That's what all human beings want. So
Right.
when the when the captains of industry sent for all these black, pardon me, migrants at the time
Mhm.
to come north to these cities to offer them jobs and housing, the white people saw them as scabs and strike breakers, and they're going to take over our jobs, much like what happened during much like the accusations made during the 45 or Trump's administration, about people coming in
Right.
from Mexico. It was the same
Right.
xenophobic kind of thing, also coupled
I
with
see.
racism. Um,
Mhm.
in So that's how my family arrived, and they'd been
I
here for
see.
some years. My grandfather, I'm sorry, working, doing as much as he could. On the night of July 1st, which was a Saturday night in 1917, white mobs had taken to coming through the black quarter of town in East St. Louis, an area that was later
Mhm.
affectionately called Rush City because black people rushed to build it up, lived in areas and
Mm.
shanties and all that close to the river. And many also had
Mm.
homes in East St. Louis. My
Mhm.
grandfather's people lived on a street at that time called Gatty, Gaty.
Mm.
um,
Mhm.
the Some white mobs came through with their cars, and they would just, as fun and games, they would shoot at fun and games to them, shoot at homes where
Mhm.
black people were living. On this particular
Mhm.
night, July 1st, Saturday night, July 1st, um, some of the black men got together in communities and said, "We're going to protect our families," and they stood out in the street with weapons. And when the same car approached, and they knew that they would start shooting, they shot at them first. It turned out that
Mm.
that car they shot at was an unmarked police car, and it was probably the same car that came through the first time. Um,
I see.
o- on the riding board was a reporter for the St. Louis Post Dispatch. I think he was
Mm.
injured, and a police officer was killed. That car was
Mhm.
taken and parked in front of City Hall in downtown East St. Louis at the time. Mayor Malman was the mayor at the time, and left there,
Mhm.
bloody with bullet holes in it. Come Sunday morning, when the
Mhm.
white folks would come out to church, there was a
Mhm.
rally around it. White people wanted to know what
Mhm.
happened, and there were men telling them that the
Mhm.
colored folks did this. I told you we need to get rid
Mhm.
of them, get them out
Mhm.
of our city. Let's
Mhm.
just get them out of our city. And then it
Mhm.
began that Sunday morning. It began, first of all, with
Wow.
mobs of white people pulling black people off the streetcar coming from St. Louis who had family over there or
Mm.
worked on either side of the river,
Right.
beating them to
Right.
death, some of them hanging from street lamps up and down Collinsville Avenue. It really it sparked then, and just the momentum began there. And there were white women beating black women in the street. Black people on their way to
Mhm.
church were beaten, and many of them killed and murdered right there
Mhm.
on the spot.
Mhm.
And it just snowballed. It was a
Mhm.
snowball effect until later that afternoon, in the early evening. They began going to the black quarters and torching and setting fires to all the homes. And the black people were left with a
Wow.
choice to either stay inside and incinerate or come out and risk being shot. My
Mhm.
family, my grandfather, we just
Mhm.
actually found out this year, because there was no death
Mhm.
certificate or anything from him, but just from some verbal commentary and some things that people had said to us, that he was actually murdered during that night.
Mm.
My
Really?
grandmother, oh yes, my grandmother and my father, my uncles, my uncle
Mhm.
Eddie, my uncle Lester, and all of them. My father was 7 years
Mhm.
old at the time, and his brothers were older.
Mhm.
My uncle Eddie was
Mhm.
15 at the time, and he was my grandfather's brother. But I knew him. He lived all the way up to about
Okay.
1976. They
Let's
had to
see.
build it. I'm sorry. Oh, they had to
Go
build a
ahead.
raft.
I'm just.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
They built a raft to escape the carnage on the Illinois side of the river and come across to St. Louis, because the police had shut down the only bridge that black people had to safety. Black people were freeing across.
Across the Mississippi.
Exactly. Some drowned trying to swim across. It was a horrific event.
Right.
Yes.
I'm sure.
The entire city was ablaze. You could hear gunshots and screams all night. They were able to escape.
Ooh.
They got to the
Mhm.
Illinois side to the Missouri side of the river, which is why I am here. My siblings are here right
Wow.
now, and my children as well.
Wow.
And that's pretty much what
Wow.
happened. And if I can add,
Interesting. Yes.
if I can
Yes.
if I can add, my family, and this was my father's side of the family, but all of us, my family, every year on July 2nd, we go down to the river to give an offering of flowers. Last summer, we did flowers and fruit, to the thanking our ancestors, thanking the great creator
Mhm.
that
Right.
my grandmother and my father and all of them were able to make it across the river. We do this every year.
Yeah.
In
Right. Right.
1997,
I saw that actually. I saw that on
oh, you did?
Facebook.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I
Mhm.
did. Uh huh. Yes.
That's become a family tradition. And just cut me off if I'm talking too much, okay?
Oh no, 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 no! I'm good. I'm just, I want to let you know that I'm listening too.
Oh, okay.
And interjecting when I can. That we're good.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
good. Yeah,
What
yeah,
that is so
yeah.
African. That's what black folks do. We
Right, that's
participate.
right.
That's right. Actively, not passively.
Right,
We do it in church.
right.
That's right. Well,
That's right.
yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. I came up in the same culture. So
All right, all right. You understand?
yes, sir. Well,
Yes, indeed.
back in 1997, I
Hmm.
realized for all those years. My father told us these stories ever since I was old enough to remember. I am now 66, but back in 1997.
Really? Okay.
Oh, thank you. Uh, Back in
Okay. Yeah. You
1997,
don't look 66. That's awesome. Whatever you're doing, keep on doing it, dude.
I know when people tell me that, I ask them, "Does 66 look like this?" You know, but no, right?
All right. All
Yeah.
right.
Well, back in 1997, I organized a little I called the Committee for Historical Truth. And one of the things
Mm,
that what we did was that we wanted to bring the history of East St. Louis to light about what happened at that time. Uh, there's
okay.
been no closure. The
Okay.
newspapers back in 1917, I even said that they had a count of about 39 black people that were killed and or I think four white people that were killed. Um,
Hmm.
it's coming out now that the number was in excess of 1,000. that some of the bodies were
Wow.
thrown into the Cahokia Creek and did not
Oh my
resurface.
goodness.
Many of the bodies were burned, and they weren't able
Wow.
to, they couldn't surface at that time. So in 1997, we
Right.
formed this committee. I went on a I, I, I went on a tour. I went to the senior citizens home. I spoke with some of the people who were children at that time in 1917. Uh,
Mm.
who would remember some of that, which is I was able to get some more information about my father that my father hadn't told me since he passed away about 11 years prior, about 9 years prior to that. Um,
I see.
in while doing that, a a video crew followed me around. They had questions. They checked it all out. This was in 1997. We also received a letter
Okay.
from a local. I don't know if it was Belleville or somewhere, a local Klan organization, uh, uh, warning me to tell the story straight. Can
Really?
you get rid of? Oh yeah,
Wow.
and the Klan was still alive and well, at least in 1997. And
Right.
we pushed forward. We learned a lot of things. After that, every year we would have some kind of observance with
Mm-hmm.
a committee of people who lived in East St. Louis, the poet laureate of East St. Louis, uh, Dr. Eugene Redmond, and the
Mm-hmm.
founder
Yes.
of, oh, you're familiar with him, and
No. Yes. Definitely.
mhm, the founder of the Freedom Ways, the Freedom Ways
Oh, the
organization,
sound
Pathways of Hope.
disappeared again. Oh.
Oh, the sound is gone. Can you hear me now? You can't hear me now? Okay. Let me let me mute. There. Can you hear me now? Uh-oh. Um you can't hear can you hear me? And un and unmute. Okay, now can you hear me? Okay. I unmute.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, you can hear me now?
Hold up. Hold up.
Okay.
Okay. Can you say something?
Okay. And I can hear you
Can you hear
very
me?
well. Yes,
Yeah,
I
I can't
can.
hear you for some reason. I
Oh my
can't. I
goodness.
can't hear you.
Oh, okay.
Oh, having a
I,
disconnect here for some
how about
reason. Uh, Interesting. Just a minute. Let me try one more thing. Just a minute.
Okay.
We're having some technical difficulties here. I'm
Right.
sure the dialogue may be a little problematic for some
Yeah.
folks. So let's see what's happening here. Just a minute. Okay, so let's see if we can get this back where we can all hear Mr. Kennedy as he shares the story of what happened in uh, East St. Louis. All right, let's see, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, I can. I can.
You can hear me? Okay, you hear me? Okay, I can hear you. Very
Oh, you still
interesting.
can't hear me.
Okay, why that is, I do
Hmm.
not know. Well,
Hmm.
tell you what.
Uh,
Let me try
let's
to go
see.
out and I'm gonna come right back again. Okay, I'm gonna disconnect and if you can come back, re link up again with me, do a relink. I'm gonna remove you and then just link back up and see if we can get you back on. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Testing 1 2 3. Can you
Okay. Can you
say
hear me
something
now?
for me, Mr. Kennedy? Can you say something? Yeah.
Yes.
Something's up.
It's loading now again. Can you not hear me? Okay. All right. Let me unmute. Okay. Now, still. Okay. Can you hear me now? It's showing that the mic is working over here. Um, hmm. Display name. Okay. Still no sound. I can't hear you now. Oh my goodness. Uh,
Can you
default
hear me?
mic is working. Yes,
Can,
I hear
can
you.
you,
Can you hear me at all?
yes,
You oh, you do. Okay.
yes.
Okay. Good. Good.
All right, good. Okay, we're back. We're back connected. We're good. I'm sorry about that.
All
That little
righty.
technical difficulty right there. I think my headphone Bluetooth must have went out or something. Sorry
Oh,
about
okay.
that. Okay.
Oh, that's quite all right.
All right. Are you able to
Okay.
pick up from where you were?
Yes. Yes, I am. And
Okay.
you can still hear me, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay. Well, as I as I was saying, because of what happened in 1917, 1997 was the first observance that we had. I put together a group of people. We called the Committee for Historical Truth. We did a program at City Hall in East St. Louis, and I did a radio interview with I think it was called WESL radio station at that
Oh
time.
yeah, WSL. Yeah.
It, it was the first time folks in the area who who were not related to or were not descendants of anyone who'd been through it had ever heard of it before. They didn't know
Hmm,
anything about it, and that
really?
appalled me. In 1997, one of the big things I wanted to do was to because we called ourselves Committee for Historical Truth, was to
Mm-hmm.
have this taught in the schools, in the public schools,
Mm-hmm.
both District 189 in Illinois and in the St. Louis public school system, because it's a truth, it's a fact that needs to be heard. And what happened there affected the entire St. Louis region politically, geopolitically, socially, economically, and in every way you can imagine. It helped to shape what the entire city area has become today. And I
Uh,
felt it was very important to know that. Uh,
Right, and I was going to mention that because I'm sure that had to the way it is now has to be related to what happened then, and we're
oh,
talking over
absolutely.
years ago. Okay,
Absolutely. And
okay,
this is something that people needed to know, particularly younger people. If they
right.
can tell, if they can tell you a lie in school that George Washington chopped down a cherry tree somewhere about 1748 or 1749, and we
Mm-hmm.
find out later that cherry trees weren't even introduced into the U.S. until 1903 as a
Mm-hmm.
gift for the gift from the Emperor of Japan for his wife U.S. at that time. We know now that they we don't know what half truths, non truths, or straight up lies they have in history right now that
True,
they're teaching us.
true. Yeah,
hmm
right.
So so
Yeah,
we still
very.
observe it every year.
That's good.
hmm
That's very interesting because I mean I think there are mentions of what happened in East St. Louis. I see occasionally, and there's pictures, but not as detailed as what you have expressed today in regard to what took place. And I mean, you hear stories of the riots in other cities that took place, and like
hmm
in Wilmington, North Carolina. I didn't know about that until I actually went to visit some cousins in another part of North Carolina, and they shared the story with me there. And that is something to know. It's so important to know where you come from, to know where you're going. That's
Oh,
so important.
exactly.
I mean,
hmm
and with this debate with critical race theory, which is foolishness,
mm
we really have to really be very intentional about
hmm
telling our story and telling the story as it is. That's for sure.
Exactly.
Yes, indeed.
Yes,
And
we
I
do.
applaud you for what you and your family are doing and have done, and how that you all recognize our ancestors, definitely from your family, and
hmm
those who were actually died. And I mean, for those of you all that don't know, the the Mississippi River between East St. Louis and St. Louis, when he said that, and I know it because I lived there, and
Mm.
I just visualizing how horrific that experience had to have been, because that's a wide span of space to have to
Yes,
go
it is.
across in a river that's currents are nothing to play with.
Right.
Lord mercy. Yeah.
My
So
my uncle
mm-hmm.
my uncle even said that it took them about 4 hours, he thinks, to get across the river.
Wow, to cross it. I
Mhm.
can believe that, man.
With
That is
the
something.
current moving and yeah.
Yeah, my goodness. Well, tell us more about the Sudan illustrators and how they came about, if you don't mind, for a
Oh,
few
not at
minutes.
all.
Okay.
Okay. The Sudan Illustrators was an organization that was started out of a community center called the Mid City Community Congress in 1970.
Mm-hmm.
Now, prior to that, there was the Black Artist Group in St. Louis on Washington Avenue. I think they're Elliott Street, somewhere close to downtown.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the Black Artist Group were a group of artists who visual artists as well as let's see, visual artists, drama, theater,
Right. Right.
music,
Mm-hmm.
avant-garde jazz came right out of that. There was
Mm-hmm.
poetry, poets like Shirley LaFleur, oh my goodness, and many many others. But that was before Mid City Community Congress. Um, out of Bag came the Mid City Community Congress, and they were located at 3974 Delmar. My twin brother and I got involved with them in 1971,
That's
doing
it.
plays.
Okay.
We were still in high school, and we were doing plays with them. They called guerrilla theater. These were plays by black authors:
Mm-hmm.
Imam Baraka, Ben Caldwell. Oh my goodness. There's so many others whose names kind of escape me right now.
Mm-hmm.
Haki Mahubuti, a number of
Mm-hmm.
people, and we would do those plays.
Okay.
We had our own theater. They had their own library. The theater was called the Sudan Room.
Mm.
We were called at the time the Sudan Actors. By
Okay.
about 19, I'd say about 1974, the building had been abandoned. My twin brother and I didn't have any way to take care of it at the time. We were still in high school.
Mm-hmm.
We were still doing plays out there until the heat was cut off and the
Oh my
electricity was
goodness.
cut off.
Uh.
We went from there to do street theater, but we continued to carry the name of
Okay.
Sudan.
Okay.
Um, and we later changed actors to illustrators because we felt that we were teaching through drama. We were illustrating Black life to Black people and to the
Mm-hmm.
world
Mm-hmm.
from our standpoint, from an historical standpoint, for what our ancestors had gone through, our parents, and what we were dealing with at that time.
Mm-hmm.
That period, the early 70s, I would imagine that, and a lot of cities did all across the country, had a number of Black bookstores, head shops, theater groups, African dance and drum ensembles, jazz organizations, poetry clubs, poetry organizations, things like that to help promote pride. Remember the Black is Beautiful. I came up during the Black Power movement, and
That's
that
it.
was definitely a part of it. There was
Right.
the Kuumba work. We had several different theater organizations in St. Louis at that time. The Kuumba
That's it.
Workshop, the Richard B.
Right.
Harrison Players.
Mm.
Uh, oh shucks, I don't even remember all of them now. And then there
Okay.
was BAG, Black Artist Group, and
Okay.
I later uh, began to learn to play traditional African drums, and for me, it was as a political act because I found out that on the law books of St. Louis and in a lot of cities, Black people of African descent during slavery were prohibited from touching a drum or
Mm.
making one or trying to play one. They could lose their hand, or
Mm.
the severity of that. It depended upon the laws in that particular county or that slave owner or whatever.
Mm.
So for me,
Interesting.
learning to play a drum was a big political act,
Right.
and it was reclaiming ancestorship that had too long been invisible and ignored.
That's
So
it.
Sudan has continued on today with opening progressive first, as I heard you say,
Right.
Progressive Emporium and Information
Right.
Center, and now Progressive the Educational Center, Emporium and
Right.
Educational Center.
Right.
That's a part of under the umbrella of Sudan, a
Okay.
rites of passage youth organization, and a
Mm.
number of things that Sudan has done in terms of health fairs and job fairs and things like that. We didn't
Okay.
want to reproduce what the Urban League was doing.
Mm-hmm.
We filled a vacuum at a time when that was not happening with any entity in the city. So we were doing
Interesting.
that for a little while, and in that way, I see that we're all hand in hand, and we're helping each other. We're all part of the same liberation effort.
Right, right. Same community, same village. Right,
Hmm.
right.
Yes, sir.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, are you still engaged now with the Sudan illustrators today?
Absolutely. Hmm.
Oh,
Sudan still exists. We also
good.
have an African society
Okay.
that we're part of. Personally, I've worked with a number of different organizations over the years because for me, organizations, entities, and individuals, businesses, for me, the goal is liberation, the liberation of
Yes.
the mind of,
Okay.
of African people, which would help in our physical liberation as well. And
Right.
information, how you get that liberation is giving information. I've
True.
worked with organizations like the National Alliance Against Racism and Political Repression. I was on the Free Angela Davis Committee back in 1972. I worked
Mm,
with the Black Vanguard Party, various kind of, paramilitary type organizations at the time, uh, similar to the Black Panther Party. Uh, Moving ahead, worked with the Congress of African People, and again in the early 70s to about mid 70s. Um, I've worked more recently. There's been so much. More recently, I've worked with organizations around the Ferguson uprising when that happened, and such a
okay.
weird thing.
Mm,
It was almost like it was an omen. I wound up moving into Canfield Green some years before it happened.
really?
I
Really?
did move out before that happened, but it helped me
Okay.
connect with people in the neighborhood who still remembered me.
Mm,
Um, Also worked with Ann Walker and the Freedom Ways Legacies of Hope, uh, working together about the East St. Louis race war and getting that information out.
mm,
Um, and currently my regular job with Better Family Life.
okay.
Yes, working with them where I'm teaching traditional African drums, dance,
Okay.
culture, and language to the children,
Awesome.
to the youth there. So
Awesome.
that's where I am today.
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. So the African drums, because I remember you from Ngoma,
Hmm.
and how powerful that experience was when I was engaged with that. I know it was on Saturday evenings
Yeah,
at
somewhere
Wilson
around 8 o'clock.
Emporium, and I think in La Patisserie, I think was
Yes,
the other location where
yes, it
you
was.
all, yeah, and that
Hmm.
was such a powerful experience where a community came together and it was poetry, right? It was drumming and poetry. Wasn't that
Yes,
what?
it was.
Yes.
How how it came about was I was teaching African and Afro Latin drumming and
Hmm.
to a group of the youth who were in what you would call a rites of passage program,
Hmm.
um, uh, a society. I was
Okay.
teaching them, and a really good sister, pardon me, a woman named Marquita Daniels,
Hmm.
um, was the owner and proprietor of a restaurant downstairs from where I was teaching the classes. This was in the Loop in University City in 1981.
Okay.
And I asked her if we could do a recital there in a restaurant. She agreed to do that.
Mm.
That following Friday, had the brothers come down. We only had a couple of numbers to play, and
Okay.
one of the young men, yes, one of the brothers had a woman he knew, and this man's name was Kelly Wembley. He had a woman he knew who would do poetry, who was here from out of town. So she
Hmm.
did poetry that night in between the two or three numbers that we knew, and then
Hmm.
other people did it, and it started. The restaurant packed up that night. The
Right.
rest is history. We did it every weekend
Right.
for
Right.
10 years.
Right.
Every
For how
weekend for
many
10 years. About 10 years.
Wow, that's
It was the first
amazing.
of the
It was a long time, but I didn't realize it was that long.
right.
Wow.
To me,
Wow.
it was a revival of the River Styx poetry series, the things that
Yes.
Shirley LaFleur did, and the poets that came before us, the poet Brown and the K. Curtis Lyle and the Black Artist Group and all that. To me, it was a continuation of that because I came out of that.
Okay.
Um, but it certainly preceded the poetry slams and all that stuff that came out about the mid 2000s. It
Okay.
preceded that. In
Right.
fact,
That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
right.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And now, how many people would you say that you all have impacted, if you could put a number to it,
Um,
from that alone, from Ngoma? Is there a way you could put a number to that?
I no, I can't. I haven't.
Okay. Okay.
I'm hearing all the time from different people. I just got a call from a man in Denver who told me
Hmm.
that when he was here,
Uh-huh.
that that I impacted this life in a big way. That
Right.
my family, that my brother had taught him so much about Afrocentricity,
Right.
and just being proud and that black was beautiful and those things back then. I
Mm-hmm.
hear that a lot. I hear from adults who's some of the children that I'm teaching today. Uh, I had my first drum teacher was a man named Hassan Ingram, a very politically minded, very kind and beautiful, talented man who now
Mm-hmm.
lives in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
But I had several teachers. One of the other one was Moore Cham. He was from Senegal, West Africa, where I was learning to play djembe, learning to do the dances. I was dancing back then,
Okay.
some of those traditional African dances, and
Mm-hmm.
his one of his sons, Alioune, uh, talked about what he had learned from me.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Today, people call him Akon. That's his name. He's a singer, Akon.
Mm-hmm. Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, well, I had to babysit he and his brothers. Well,
Oh
that was
really?
a very African thing. That my drum teacher, in order for me to learn, I had to do certain things for him.
Oh,
So one of them
interesting.
was watching out for his sons at that
Is
time.
that right? Interesting.
That's right.
Interesting story. Interesting story. Well, man, I want to thank you, Brother Kennedy. Man, this has been really a very wonderful conversation. One of the things that I'm intentional about with the Empower Room is being open to discussions outside of the norm, if you will. You
Yes,
know.
sir.
So
Hmm.
I thank you for sharing your story and the story of what happened in East St. Louis and the Sudan illustrators and in Goma, and it impacted my life definitely. That's why I came, every week when I was there for sure, because it impacted my life in a major way as well. So
Oh, good.
it really was empowering. It's something about the power of the drum, the African drum. It speaks to our soul in a way that I don't know if other cultures have that strange same kind of connection. Maybe so. I know there are drumming in other cultures, but
Hmm.
I found a love to the African drum. I've been blessed to go to Ghana, West Africa, a couple of times, and
Hmm.
just thank you for what you and your brother have done, and your family have done for our community. It is not gone by me unnoticed, and many others, as you have been getting calls from people from all over. So
Oh, yeah.
please be let it be known that what you all are doing, your work is not in vain at all. So
Thank you
appreciate
so
you.
much, Rev.T. I
Yes,
appreciate
indeed.
that.
Yes,
Good to
indeed.
hear that.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yeah. So, man, thank you so much for coming to the Empower Room. We look forward
Thank you.
to hopefully having you back. Sometime
Oh,
maybe we can
yeah.
do a African drum session on in the Empower Room or something. That I think that'll be cool to
I'm all for
continue to
that.
do. Okay.
I'm
All
all for
right.
that.
All right, that'll
Yes,
work.
sir.
That'll work. We'll make it
Thank
happen,
you.
man, for sure. We'll hook it up maybe around Kwanzaa or something. We're gonna do something.
That would be great. Thank you so
All
much.
right, all right,
Okay.
all right, man. Well,
Thank you, Sal.
blessings to your family, and thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule, Brother Kennedy, for coming on, and blessings to each and every one of your family members and friends and community, man. Appreciate it, and definitely to Progressive Emporium as well for what you all have done for community as well through Progressive Emporium.
Okay. My pleasure. Thank you so much,
All right,
Rev.T.
all right, all right. God bless, man.
God bless. Peace.
All right, okay, then. All righty. So we have had an outstanding guest today. I don't know about you, but I was empowered by that engagement of the conversation, hearing the history of what happened in the East St. Louis riot over 100 years ago, and the impact that has had to today is just amazing. If any of you all are familiar with East St. Louis, I would encourage you to learn more about it. I'm sure there's information on YouTube and books and things of that nature that you're able to get information on. If you are interested and learning more information regarding the riots, any information that you may want, I encourage you to definitely contact the Progressive Emporium STL.com. That is their website, and I guarantee you, you will be able to find the information or get in contact with Thady Kennedy or any of the folks there at Sudan Illustrators. Will be able to give you whatever information you may need, and they have a outstanding bookstore that's there also in St. Louis as well. That they have wonderful resources there that are Afrocentric centered, and you will not be disappointed in the information that you get from them. They have been around many years and have been a wonderful contributor to the community there in St. Louis and beyond, not just in St. Louis, but St. Louis and beyond. So again, I want to thank Thady Kennedy for being on with us today, and hope you are blessed by the conversation that we had today. All right, so we want to thank you all so much for being with us in the Empower Room today. We did have a promotion that we wanted to share with you in regard to the virtual book signing in the blink of an eye, but we're going to do a special presentation or a special presentation of that within the next day or so in regard to that, to kind of keep everyone up on the virtual book signing of In the Blink of an Eye. And it is my first book that shares my testimony of a afterlife experience that I had on February 14, 2014. Be looking out for the reviews. Should be coming out soon in regard to those that have shared the reviews from what they experienced from the read of the book. And I just want to thank all those who contributed to the book. Mr. Jeffrey Connors with Lionheart Media, my beautiful wife, Deborah Hughes, she has a chapter in the book, and Lois Ingram, who took some very essential pictures for me as well in the book. And just grateful for this opportunity to be here and to be able to share my story with others. So we want to thank you all for being in the Empower Room. We pray that you have a blessed rest of the day, and please check us out at MPWRMediaLLC1.com. That's a play on words, M as in Mary, P, W, R, Media. LLC1.com. Check out our website and check out our services. I'm sure you would find information that is provided on the website to be very interesting, especially if you're interested in having dialogue in regard to cultural awareness issues and things of that nature. We have some wonderful, engaging, engaging sessions, if you will, that I think would help spark conversation in regard to cultural awareness. All right. So you all have a wonderful day and have a blessed rest of the week. And we want to salute our veterans as we approach Veterans Day this week. We thank you so much for your service, and pray you have a blessed week, and God is blessing you all as well. All right. So everyone, please have a great weekend, and we hope to see you all in 2 weeks. All right. So thank you all so much, and look forward to engaging with you all again in the Empower Room real soon. And be looking out for our special engagement coming real soon as well. So thank you. Have a great, 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 great day.